Getting good at art will take a lot of time, but here are 3 very useful tips that really sped up the process for me. So if you really want to up your art game, I'd recommend you stick around for a few minutes. One of the most overused, but also one of the best tips is to copy other artists who are better than you. As you can see right here, I have this sort of little collection of this Russian painter from the 17/1800s, who was a really nice portrait painter. So I just clip one of his portraits to my drawing board and try to emulate this painting, which in fact was his self-portrait. So if you don't have the luxury of having that nice little collection of their works, you could just go online, find a work that they like, put it on your screen, and try to sort of emulate it. Don't try to copy it line for line. That's not the point. Try to study what they did, and if your piece is a little bit different and it's probably going to be a little bit worse than the original, that's fine. The next tip, which is honestly pretty underrated, is to have a sort of dedicated schedule. Think about it. If you're going to the gym, you can't just randomly exercise different body parts and expect consistent results. No, you would have a different split where on this day you train, say, your arms or your chest or whatever. Same thing can apply to art. It's not as big a deal, but it still helps. So, for example, you could say that on Wednesdays you will specifically focus on your portraits, and on Thursdays you will specifically do full figures. This just helps structure your work and makes your progress a little bit more steady. The third and final tip for today is kind of misunderstood, but also isn't a total game changer, and that is your materials. Now, it's become sort of a joke that sometimes beginners in a new hobby try to get like all the best materials as possible, and it costs a bunch of money, and that it's much better to just do everything with the cheapest materials possible. And I disagree with that. I think if you know that you are going to be serious about this thing, I would recommend you invest a little bit in this. And it doesn't have to be much. It costs less than $100. So, for example, instead of just using a 2B pen and A4 paper on a flat desk, I would very much recommend you get an easel because it's much better to draw on an inclined surface. It's more comfortable. And also, when you draw on a flat surface, your drawing and painting kind of gets foreshortened. So it's kind of like weird to see the perspective gets all messed up. Well, not all, but like a little bit messed up. Also, you can get charcoal pencils that leave nicer lines and can be sharpened to a nice fine taper. So you can have different sort of, you can almost paint with it, like by using the side of the pencil, it gives a more tonal sort of rendering. And also using things like kneaded erasers, which don't leave any marks and last a lot longer. All these things don't cost that much money, but they are a complete game changer. So if you know that you're serious about this, I would recommend you invest a little bit in yourself. So those are 3 very useful tips that I use on the daily to sort of better my art and speed up my art learning process. I hope that you guys can implement these too, and I hope that you guys can see some results from them. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe, and I'm going to have new content coming out very soon. So I will see you then.